the 23 different signs that your body is deficient in vital nutrients. Now, the problem with me teaching you this is you're going to pretty much evaluate everyone you know. So you're going to have to withhold that temptation, because people will be offended if you start explaining why they have these little white specks on their nails or why they might have erectile dysfunction. All right, now let me first just tell you the 3 reasons why people are deficient, okay? Number 1, their guts are damaged, so they can't absorb nutrition. So that's called malabsorption. It's a digestive barrier. Now, it could also be that you're missing a gallbladder or you're lacking bile, and you can't pull in the fat-soluble vitamins, vitamin A, D, E, and vitamin K. Or it could be you're not eating enough of the right foods, or the foods that you're eating are not nutrient dense, which is a big problem because the soils, unfortunately, are really, really poor quality. So if you're growing food on soil that's not soil, but it's actually dirt, you might get a really nice looking tomato, but it's going to be tasteless. Why? Because the flavor chemicals are tied in with the nutrient density. So we get these beautiful looking like vegetables that taste like nothing, and then you're going to be craving Doritos and wanting other spices to try to flavor them up, when in fact they should normally come there with nutrition. So unfortunately, the farmers sell these products based on weight and volume, not nutrient-dense type foods. And then the third way that you become deficient is consuming refined foods and sugars that deplete you and rob you of nutrition. So let's just go through the list. Number 1, white spots on your nail. What does that mean? That is a zinc deficiency, but it's not really a zinc deficiency. It is consuming too much sugar that robs you of zinc. So if you look at your nail and you see this little white speck about halfway down the nail, you know about 3 months ago, you had a lot of sugar or refined carbohydrate. Like, let's say you had this huge birthday party and you ate the whole cake, and that depleted zinc from your body, creating that little white speck. So you have 2 options. You can stop eating the sugar, or you can take some zinc. All right, number 2, oily skin. This is usually a problem with the oil glands of your body. It's called sebaceous glands that make something called sebum, which is a type of oil. And that usually occurs when you have an imbalance with androgens. You're producing too many androgens, which is the male hormone. And so one really key nutrient to regulate androgens is zinc, okay? So oily skin can be greatly improved if you start taking trace minerals, specifically zinc. Now, if you're female and you have too many androgens, you may have something called polycystic ovarian syndrome. And in that case, that's coming from too much insulin because the carbs are too high. And of course, the combination of that sugar depleting zinc, as well as lacking zinc and having an uncontrolled androgen situation. So with oily skin, you just need to take some zinc, and you need to make sure that your sugar is not very high. So as you can see, zinc is involved with quite a few things. All right, number 3, cracking on the corners of your mouth right here, or cracked back of your heels, okay? So that is a vitamin B2 deficiency. It could also be a vitamin B3 deficiency, but it definitely involves the B vitamins. So the B vitamins are very, very important in preventing like these small fissures, okay, on your skin. And so if you have enough B2 or B3, you won't get them. Now, you see a lot of people in the winter that get these fissures in their skin, and that normally comes because they don't have enough vitamin D because they're not in the sun, and vitamin D feeds the microbes, and your microbes make the B vitamins. So that is a connection between cracked heels, cracked corners of your mouth, which I used to have as a kid, and it could be very easily handled by taking vitamin D or vitamin B2 in the form of nutritional yeast. All right, next one is flaking skin. A lot of times you'll see that around the nose or even the forehead, where the skin is kind of like a scaling, flakiness. That is a deficiency of omega-3 fatty acids. And that occurs because you're consuming too much omega-6 fatty acids. And so the essential fatty acids that our body needs, because the body doesn't make it, is both omega-3 and omega-6. So if your ratios are off because you're doing too much 6 and not enough 3, that's what happens with the skin. It becomes dry, flaky, white little flakes, usually around the nose or the forehead. So you need to do two things. You need to start cutting down the omega-6 fatty acids. That means reduce the amount of nuts or peanut butter or chicken or fried foods or going out to restaurants or fast food. All are very high in omega-6, like corn oil, soy oil, cottonseed oil. And you need to eat more fish, sardines, and cod liver oil. In fact, cod liver oil will be the quickest thing to handle this flaking skin. All right, number 5, yellowed eyes. That is a jaundice situation. It's a liver problem. It could be a gallbladder problem where the byproducts of your red blood cells are backing up through the system, through the liver, and into the blood. And the byproduct of these red blood cells have a yellow color, okay? And so if your skin or your whites of your eyes are yellow, that is definitely a backup of the liver and the gallbladder. And that is usually a deficiency of bile salts, okay? So bile salts. Bile salts allow the flow of stuff through the liver and through the bile ducts. And if you don't have enough bile, this thickened cholesterol sludge tends to back up and you develop these white eyes. So a simple remedy would be to take some purified bile salts to open up this kind of clogged drain plug to allow the body to eliminate the byproduct of red blood cells. All right, number 6, chronic cough. If someone has a chronic cough, they usually have a calcium deficiency. So a little calcium, especially at night, works like magic for these chronic coughs. Calcium both improves the immune system, but it also relaxes the throat and the larynx, just like you might want to take for cramping in your calves. So basically it helps something called laryngeal spasm, or this tightness in the structures of your throat, okay? So you might want to try that. The type of calcium I would recommend is calcium lactate, okay? Not calcium carbonate. And you don't need much, maybe 200 milligrams before you go to bed. All right, number 7, bleeding gums or reddened, swollen gums.